everybody, welcome along to the 4X Addicts for a slightly different video. We're not here to race today, we're here to help you get good value from your iRacing subscription by being savvy with your purchases. You probably already know that iRacing has free content, a list of great cars and tracks which are used in the Rookie Series and beyond. But there are a lot of other items you need to buy. These can cost around $15 for tracks and $12 for cars, unless you buy in bulk or have a discount code. So you want to make sure you're buying content which is good value, i.e. the stuff you're going to get a lot of use out of. What we'll look at now are the best value car to buy and the top 3 tracks. By buying this car and these tracks, you know you're going to be putting your money into some wise purchases. The way we've chosen the best value car is to look at the one you can use for the longest time in your iRacing career. In fact, the car we'll look at will give you great racing as a D license holder, but will also allow you to race in C, B and A license championships too, meaning just one car can get you to that coveted blue A license. Remember, the rookie cars are free, and the MX-5 can be raced in D license with the Production Car Challenge and C license with the Advanced Mazda. Other free cars can be raced in D and C too, but to get beyond that, you're going to need to buy something. So what car can you have fun racing in D, C, B and A license races? Well, it's this one, the Ferrari 296 GT3. An icon of iRacing, this car replaced the Ferrari 488 GT3 and is now the Ferrari you'll use in the Ferrari GT3 Challenge fixed once you get out of rookies and you can flash your new D license at security on the way in. Once you progress to C license, you can use the same car in endurance races like the GT Endurance VRS series and special events like the Fuji 8 Hour, etc. It can also be used if it's the car selected for the Ringmeister series and the Nürburgring Endurance Championship, but you'd need the Nürburgring combined tracks for that, so don't do that if you're trying to save money. Things really open up when you get your B license, with the Fanatec GT3 Challenge fixed, the GT Sprint VRS series, and enduros like the Global Endurance Pure Driver School Tour and IMSA Endurance. Finally, once you have that A license, you can still grab the keys to your trusty Italian motor and enter the IMSA racing series, both the open setup and the fixed. So that's a huge range of D, C, B and A license races. Some short, some long, some up to 24 hours long, which you can race in either solo or in those longer races as part of a team. Right, now that's established and we have a prancing horse on the driveway, which tracks should we buy to get the best value over the years? Well, firstly, the most sensible thing to do in the short term is to buy the ones that are going to be used in the series that you want to race. In the short term, there's no point in buying a track that isn't going to be used, but we're thinking long term here, and they change every season. Don't assume that the ones used this season will be used again next season. So that's why we're interested in that long term view, which tracks to buy that you get great use out of season after season, year after year, whatever cars you end up owning and racing. In order to figure out which tracks we're likely to use over and over again, we can look at the data. Luckily, we don't have to do it ourselves, someone else has done the number crunching for us. You may have seen a post on my community tab on YouTube recently showing which tracks have been used across the series over the last few years. This data is courtesy of Rafael Cazacurta on Twitch. We see tracks like the Red Bull Ring and Road Atlanta near the top, as this sheet shows the average number of uses per season for each track. Now bear in mind, there's some recency bias here, as newly introduced tracks often get used a lot in their first season to try and make people buy them. But that doesn't affect the top 3, which are all very well established tracks. So let's start by looking at the track that scraped onto the podium, made it into P3. And it's a big one. It's the track that features long straights, long corners, and a long list of inclusions on various calendars. It's Road America. This track near Elkhart Lake in Wisconsin, USA, was used in the past for F1, so it's a long track. The long straights mean it's often a slipstream battle, but with a lot of patience required around carousel and a lot of guts when you're flicking your car into the kink. This circuit has been used on average 20 times per season over the last few years, so you will often find something is racing at this track. There's only one real layout of this track, so once you've mastered it, you should be well set, but mastering it is really tricky, with lots of blind corners. The alternative layout is very rarely used, and it simply adds an extra right-left just before the kink, taking the sting out of that iconic corner. For that reason, the alternative layout is rarely used, but this track is definitely one to consider buying if you want plenty of usage over the coming years. Next up, it's over to Europe for the second most utilised track in iRacing. Now, interestingly, like Road America, this is a very long F1 standard track with not many variations to its layout. In fact, the variations on the layout don't affect the track layout itself, just the pit lane you use and where the start-finish line is. That's right, it's over to Belgium for Spa-Francorchamps. Once again, this is a long track which is tricky to master, but once you've figured out all the kinks, dips and twists, you'll be set, because this track has been used an average 21 times per season over the last few years. Enjoy the iconic run from the final chicane, formerly the bus stop chicane and still often referred to as the bus stop. Up through the super sharp hairpin at La Source, and down the hill with the fantastic Eau Rouge and Radion complex looming ahead of you. You can push as hard as possible and get a run onto that super long Emil straight, but beware of slowdown penalties if you get it wrong. Add in some high-speed corners later on through the lap like Pouin, Blanchimont, and you may need to order a supply of bravery pills if you take on this famous track in the Ardennes forest. So finally, we're back over to the USA for the most widely used track in iRacing. Now this one also has F1 history from a while back, but it's far shorter and has 4 quite distinct track layouts. So, what is it if you haven't guessed already? That's right, the most utilised track is Watkins Glen in the state of New York, with a short cup layout which promotes super close racing through slipstreaming, and a longer boot layout, called boot because the extra bit literally looks like a boot. There's something for all series here. Throw in the optional bus stop chicane with vicious curbs, and this simple looking track suddenly becomes tricky to get right. But make sure you do spend time working it out, because this track is used very frequently, so mastering it is a great weapon to have in your arsenal. Take time to work out where the off tracks are, as there's a lot of time to be gained in some areas where you could run way over the white line, or you can watch your favourite YouTube creators race here and see where they make up their lap time. So if you're looking for the most widely used track on iRacing, and therefore arguably the best value purchase, this is the one you're after. So if you find yourself driving this car, the Ferrari 296 GT3, at this track, Watkins Glen, then I'm not surprised. This is the most sensible car to buy if you want to make your way up through the ranks of iRacing on the most popular track in iRacing. So enjoy finding the limits of this combination. And if you like this kind of thing, hints, tips about iRacing, or you just want to see me race, then please do subscribe to my channel, and I'll leave you with a couple of videos that I really think you are going to want to watch.